that kept him out of that Sacred Heart game. They won that game easily nonetheless, and Burton will start today for the Panthers, who come in with a record of 7-4. Started the year 1-3, but as we said, have won 6 out of 7 since then. North Florida, we'll talk about their schedule, 3-6, a true murderer's row of a non-conference schedule for the Ospreys. Our officials this afternoon, Ted Valentine, Clarence Armstrong, and Tim Comer, who threw it up. And North Florida in the blue jerseys wins the tip. North Florida has immediately an offensive foul on a moving screen against North Florida. It's called on Jaden Parker. The players to look for: Jarius Hicklin, who's had some good shooting performances against up competition this year, Placer, number 15, and Hendrickson, a former 2-time All-Atlantic Sun performer.
Coach Driscoll does not like that. They have a set play off the tip ball for Parker to get a dunk. They didn't get that, and then he picks up a foul.
Sloppy start for Pitt as they throw it out of bounds. Nellie Cummings, Greg Elliott have been hot of late for head coach Jeff Capel, and Blake Hinson has been a real revelation since coming over from Iowa State in his first season at Pitt. For head coach Jeff Capel in his 5th season with the Panthers, 58-73 his record here in the Steel City. Still looking for our first shot of the game as they feed it inside for Jaden Parker. Backing in Federico, hook shot is up and rebounded by Greg Elliott.
Look for Pitt to try to get the ball inside with good spacing, which will create easy shot opportunities.
They do try to get it inside to Federico, who had a huge game, a double-double last time out against Sacred Heart. He's off the mark, rebounded back up, and cleared by Jaden Parker. Pitt really hammered Sacred Heart on the glass. They out-rebounded them by 28 in that game, and we see a little bit of that early.
Well, they're really trying to establish Federico down in that low post, get people to double him, and then space the floor, and they can offensive rebound out of that.
Barry, primarily a three-point shooter, turns it over. The steal, Jamarius Burton, pulls up from 12. And a good box out leads to a Pitt foul against Blake Hinson. One player who will not play today for Pitt is John Hughley IV, who was an honorable mention All-ACC player last year. Personal reasons not playing today, and they really ran the offense through him last year.
Oh, without question, he was the key. And with the new guys coming over, it has helped spread out the offensive execution and expectation, and Coach Capel has done a really good job integrating the new guys.
0 for 3 from the field so far for Pitt as Parker has met at the rim and fouled. The foul is called against Burton, his first. North Florida led by head coach Matthew Driscoll, a Pittsburgh native in his 14th season as head coach of UNF. Led them to the NCAA tournament and the Atlantic Sun title back in 2015. He's in the middle there. He just stood up. That is head coach Matthew Driscoll.
And if anybody that knows him talks about his energy level, his excitement for the game, he's such a positive individual, and he brings such positivity to his team.
Parker, 42% free throw shooter off the mark. He has scheduled, we'll call it ambitiously this year. What do you think about this schedule, Coach? They played the number 2, 3, and 4 teams in the preseason AP poll. Gonzaga, Kentucky, and Houston lost all of them lopsided, but it's a tough schedule. They're ranked 2nd by ESPN BPI.
Without question, but his kids really practiced hard yesterday. Everybody was in a great frame of mind. I look for them to really give it everything they've got out here today against Pittsburgh.
Federico lays it up and in for the first 2 of the game for Pitt.
What Pittsburgh likes to do is use Federico to set a ball screen around the foul line and then roll to the basket, and they like to give him the ball in the low post with really good spacing so nobody can come down and help and double.
Hicklin, step back jumper. Clearing the board, Nike Sabandi, who just checked into the game, a 6th-year senior from Indianapolis. Pitt, a veteran team, 3 6th-year players, 2 5th-year players in their rotation. Only Notre Dame has more 5th or 6th-year guys in the ACC as the bank shot is up and in for Blake Hinson, one of those 5th-year players.
Yes, they're veteran players, but they're not veteran playing together. And that's one of the things Coach Capel has really worked hard in doing, getting them to understand each other and play with each other.
Floater by Placer is off the mark. Rebound is volleyed around several times, eventually controlled by Sabandi.
Sabandi can play the point or the two.
Sabandi is fouled.
This is what Pitt likes to do. They like to have Federico come set the screen. You see the spacing, so nobody can really come and help, and he does a great job of finishing at the rim.
Good action there by Pitt on offense. Sabandi, 77% free throw shooter, a 60-year senior, transferred from Miami of Ohio, where he played 3 years, averaged about 15 a game at Miami, and he's got over 1,600 career points in his career.
You know, the transfer portal has created a real dilemma because you want to bring guys in, but you also like to have continuity. I think Coach Capel has managed this extremely well here at Pittsburgh.
Brought in several guys who've played very well so far this year. It's been a big part of their turnaround. 7-4 on the season. Had some notable wins, probably most notably as the left-handed bank shot is up and in by Jaden Parker, who has all 3 points for North Florida. But they went on the road in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. They crushed Northwestern by 29 points. And then they opened up their ACC schedule at NC State and beat them on the road. So they're 1-0 in the ACC. Picked 14th out of 15 teams in the preseason.
Well, one of the things Coach Capel was trying to do in picking up transfer were guys from winning programs. That was important to him, that sort of DNA came to this Pitt program.
You look at a player now like Nelly Cummings, who's really caught fire of late, a 2-time Patriot League champion at Colgate, went to the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. Pitt off to the early lead, 6-3 is the score.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Did you know that
a good part of Pitt's turnaround this season can be attributed to the three-point shot? They've really shot it well of late.
Well, they really have, and really two guys have really stepped in and done a great job, Cummings and Elliott. Both of those two young men are really good shooters. They also are very good off the bounce, and that creates more scoring opportunities. So again, you know, Coach Capel was looking for specific things, and I think he got that in his recruiting to fill a lot of the need to make this Pitt team a very dangerous team.
You talked about Cummings and Elliott. Those two have really sparked that turnaround in shooting. They've roughly doubled their scoring over the last 4 games. As the shot is blocked, they came in with 8 on the shot clock. You can see they've basically, the last 4 games, doubled their point production and more than doubled their three-point shooting. Reverse layup by Federico is saved back inbounds by Pitt with still plenty of time on the shot clock.
Federico has to get a little stronger in that low post. He has good position, but he still takes off-balance shots.
Cummings going one-on-one, defended well by Jonathan Abar. Jump shot by Elliott halfway down and rebounded by the Ospreys. Chaz Lanier has checked into the game. He's got the ball.
North Florida has to have more ball movement than what they have right now. They're really stagnant, whether or not it's ball screens or whether or not they spread the floor and try to penetrate and pitch.
Long 3 off the back iron, rebounded by Hinson. That shot from Placer. Placer on the defensive end against Sabandi. Cummings down the lane, nice feed to Federico. He lost it, turns it over. Good hands there by North Florida and Jonathan Abar. Out of bounds. Let's go back to what you said about Federico.
Well, they're really working to get him the ball. Right now, he's in really good position. He's got to square up, go up, and explode. He's not exploding. He's got a high jump, not broad jump. When you broad jump, you bring the ball to the defender and you get it blocked or deflected.
Federico, 6'11", 220. He's listed as a sophomore from Finland, first year at Pitt. You can see he's a very thin player, still trying to add strength.
After a year going through the ACC wars, he'll get stronger, I guarantee you.
You'll have to. Inside for Parker, who lays it up. Abar, I should say, who lays it up and in. Good inbounds play there by the Ospreys.
Abar is a very good offensive player. He's really good around the basket, and they use him a lot of those actions where he can duck in and roll to the basket.
Averages about 7 points a game and only 14 minutes a game. Sabandi's strong take off glass and
I really like Sabandy. He does a lot of things coming off the bench for this Pitt team. And the other thing that nobody's really talked about with Pitt is defensively. They're really doing a good job defensively. They contain the ball better. I think they really talk and communicate.
Ooh, rejected. There's that defense you talked about. One of the twins, Jorge Diaz-Graham, with the rejection. A freshman from Spain. Off glass, no good, but Burton will go to the line.
Yeah. Sabandy does a really good job when he comes in. You got a guy that can play either guard position. He can shoot it, but he also can finish around the rim, so he can play on the ball or off the ball. And there you see the rotation coming over with the block. You know, rim protecting and defense is critical. If you can eliminate points in the paint, you'll be surprised how many games you win.
That was Jorge Diaz-Graham on the block. And now his brother, twin brother, Guillermo Diaz-Graham, will check into the game. So both twins are in the game right now, and they're both about 7 feet tall.
And I tell you what, and offensively, they're really skilled. And if they didn't have their jerseys on, I don't know how you tell them apart. I tell you what, they would have a tough time dating because the girl wouldn't know which one she was going out with, I'm telling you. But they really are really good players, and I know Coach Capel is really high on them and their development because they're skilled players.
Both prepped at IMG Academy down in Florida. This is Hendrickson. Averages 14 a game, hasn't been heard from so far. Into the corner for a three. Rebounded by Guillermo Diaz-Graham. Blocked. Well done again by Abar, who's played well in limited minutes.
North Florida has to find a way to get the ball to the basket. They're settling for jump shots, and that's what Pitt wants them to do.
Hinson rebounds the Abar three.
For our fans that saw Pitt play last year and watching them play this year, they don't get frustrated. Last year, I thought there were times they got frustrated or a foul wasn't called, they missed the shot. This Pitt team just keeps playing, and they play with the same purpose and determination and focus that Coach Capel wants them to play at.
He told us about the camaraderie they have off the court, and it's a very close team.
Well, and it's obvious in how they're playing. Last year, I thought there were times they got kind of frustrated, and Coach's job was more to keep calm as it was coaching. This year's team, he's really just coaching them because they already are playing with that sort of patience and demeanor.
Ripped away. And with the transfer portal now, you can really overhaul your team quickly. Look at the numbers these three players are putting up for Pitt.
But they have to be the right guys, and that's when Coach Capel talked about wanted guys that came from winning programs and are used to winning, and winning is important to them.
Guillermo Diaz-Graham is fouled on the shot by Chaz Lanier. He'll go to the line. And Hinson came in from Iowa State, although he didn't play in his 2 years there. He started at Ole Miss, where he averaged about 9 a game. We mentioned Cummings, a two-time NCAA tournament the last couple of years at Colgate. Elliott came from Marquette, where he played 4 seasons there, and he's shot the ball extremely well so far in a Pitt uniform.
You know, one of the things that I always say, coaches that were guards, they understand positioning and chemistry because their college careers were predicated on getting everybody involved and keeping everybody happy. So they want guys that have the ability to do that. That's why there's so many guards, I think, that are coaches.
You see where the starting lineup all played last year. Not a single one of them played here at Pitt. Biggest, except for Burton, excuse me. Burton started today. But he comes from Texas Tech.
You see this defensively, that's an excellent defense by Pittsburgh. And I think so much has been made of the three-point shooting, but their defense is going to be what carries them once they get in the ACC.
We talked about Pittsburgh native Matthew Driscoll. He's an energetic guy, and he'll have you
fired up, nothing well, and what a tree he's come from. Unbelievable background.
He played at Northgate High School, which is about 15 minutes northwest of here, and that was his first coaching job back in 1988. He's a Pittsburgh native. He's a Steelers fan. As Jorge Diaz-Graham knocks down the three, and you see some of the stops he's made along the way, paying his dues before he eventually caught on with Larry Shiat at Wyoming and Clemson. He ended up with Scott Drew at Baylor, and he's been the head coach at North Florida, the winningest coach in school history.
Well, he coached under some great guys. Larry Shiat is a basketball savant. I mean, everybody in the game knows who he is and what he's been able to do. And then Scott Drew has just gone on and done just a tremendous job. So his background is really solid. And Pittsburgh is just such a unique town. They have so many personalities, you know. You start with John Calipari. I mean, the basketball in this city is very much underrated, and so many people that have touched so many lives that come out of here.
He estimated he'd have about 50 people here at the game, friends and family, supporting North Florida behind their bench. And appropriately in a Steelers town, it's 14-7 is the score. This is Hendrickson, who's yet to get on track. And we got some photos going back in the day here of Coach Driscoll. Now he's a much older man now, but this is when he was playing in Northgate High School. You compared him to Teen Wolf when we saw this photo before the game, and then when he was at LaRoche College, or Butler County Community College.
Is that cool or what?
What is that?
Man, seriously, is that cool or what? I mean, unbelievable.
That's his player photo. I'm not sure if he was in Miami Vice or playing for Butler County, but that's his player photo. It looked like it's photoshopped, but he was cool as a cucumber there. And a Pittsburgh guy through and through. And he told us a story about how he got his start in coaching, and he was working as a manager at a McDonald's. He didn't finish college at Slippery Rock until he was 27 years old. Felt like coaching might be something he wanted to get into, and then started working his way up the ladder, getting to know people, treating people the right way, and now he's made a nice career for himself.
He's made a lot of friends along the way. When I told him I was doing this game, I had 3 coaches make sure I told him hello. So he's really well respected.
His team down 7 right now, midway through the first half. To the rim, up and in.
And I tell you what, with the shooters on the floor, we talked about Cummings and Elliott earlier. Burton's able now to get the spacing to get to the rim. I thought last year he did a great job of driving the basketball, but now with the spacing, he does an even better job.
What's the call here?
There you see Burton right there. He's always had the ability to get to the basket, but he's always had to go over a shot blocker. Now he doesn't. It looks like on this drive, I think they're going to call it a block.
Blocking foul on Jorge Diaz-Graham.
But coaches will take that. I'm telling you, Robert, with being able to rotate over there and give up your body, good things are going to happen down the line by being able to do that.
Both twins checked out of the game. Immediately a block, as Pitt's been very stout inside defensively.
Yeah, again, I keep saying, if you can protect the paint defensively, you're going to win a lot of games.
And it's really forcing North Florida to just shoot a lot of threes, which they haven't been successful at so far.
But if you know that that's what a team is going to do athletically, you can get out there and guard it without fouling, though, but you can get out there and guard it.
That is the second foul on Burton. And that will put Hendrickson at the line for 3 shots.
You know, I thought last year Burton felt a lot of pressure. I thought he felt the obligation to have to do a lot of things. And a lot of times I thought he would come into the game with the game plan being for him to do X, and he had to do. He just seems very relaxed in what his role is.
We mentioned a big day of college basketball around the country. Coming up next, Cornell takes the 50-mile drive up I-81. They square off against Syracuse. The Orange have won the last 41 against the Big Red, dating back to 1969. It's coming up after we're done here on ACC Network.
Yeah, Coach Boeheim, the Lord of the North. I tell you what, he doesn't lose too much up there. He's a heck of a coach.
I'm going to tell you, Cornell gets up and down the court. They played Miami recently, and both teams scored over 100. So Cornell loves to get up and down the court. Should be a fun game at the Dome. 3 for 3 from the line for Carter Hendrickson. We'll see if that gets him on track. His first points of the game. Sabandi. And a strong rebound there by North Florida as Parker tapped it to Hicklin.
Looked like Hinson got hit in the eye, and he's late getting back defensively.
Unsettled situation as Placer flips it up and in, his first 2 of the game.
Placer is really quick with the ball. He can initiate, he can play off the ball. Really good score for North Florida.
Wide open in the corner, a 3 is good for Greg Elliott.
Sometimes when you're that open, you rushed it, but he really took his time and got his feet set. Then he comes back and makes a steal on the other end. That's what I'm telling you. This Pitt team is committed to the defensive end as well as offense. There you see him skip pass. He knocks down the 3, but he doesn't celebrate. He rushes back down defensively and is able to make a steal and save a basket.
Yeah, saved what would have been a layup for North Florida. Excellent job there at both ends by Elliott. We mentioned how well he's been shooting of late. 62% over his last 4 from beyond the arc. Hicklin down the lane and an offensive foul.
Hicklin is probably North Florida's best driver. He does a really good job off the bounce of finishing at the rim and also getting other people involved. There you see him driving right there. Offensive charge is taken, and again, Elliott does a great job. But again, it's Pitt's defensive principles that bail him out.
Hicklin is the team's leading scorers for North Florida. 5 fouls, 5 turnovers for UNF so far. They've struggled offensively because of that Pitt defense. Sabandi going one-on-one. Pull-up jumper. Good effort by Federico, but it eventually comes away to North Florida, and a foul on Federico on the loose ball. That'll be his second.
Coach K was looking at him smiling. At some point, you got to kind of give up on it. You know, you're not going to get, he likes the effort. He likes going after. Right now, it's over. You need to get back and not pick up a cheap foul.
That is the 6th foul against Pitt, so North Florida will shoot free throws the rest of the half, starting with the next foul, and that could be a real bonus, so to speak, for them because they've had a lot of trouble scoring from the field.
I'm surprised we haven't seen the zone from North Florida.
This is Hicklin. Pitt's defense, as you said, has been airtight so far. Placer step back 3.
And he turned and looked at the Pitt bench like, I can make this now, you better guard me. But I tell you, I thought it was a tough shot. I thought it was good defense.
Placer started his career at UMBC, now in his 4th year at North Florida.
He was on the team that upset Virginia.
Yep.
So he's used to playing against ACC people.
Down to 4 on the shot clock. Elliott to the rim with 2. They're not going to get the shot away. Shot clock violation.
Right there, you see North Florida. They do a good job of moving the basketball. Watch Placer goes, drives it, steps back.
Some of these very difficult up games that UNF has scheduled. You see he had 19 at Washington. They played here in town against Duquesne last month. He had 24 points and then 4 threes against both Kentucky and Houston. That's the kind of three-point shooting you need in these up games.
Well, he's a talented player. I think the biggest thing with him is his ability off the bounce to make plays, and he can get to the rack and to get to the basket and finish.
It's interesting, if you didn't look at the scoreboard in this game, you'd think Pitt was up by 10 or 12, but it's only a 4-point game and UNF has the ball. They're hanging around. Placer, another 3. And a strong rebound brought down by Pitt's Blake Hinson.
Pittsburgh has had some opportunities, especially around the basket, and just not finished.
It's been a low-scoring game so far, as a foul will put Hinson at the line. The foul is called on North Florida's Dorian James, his second.
And Hinson is one of those young men that you can play him on the perimeter or you can play him in the post. He's big and strong, can finish around the basket, really knows how to use angles, especially in that low post position.
So Hinson will go to the line where he's a 76% free throw shooter. tomorrow, our women's basketball quadruple header starts at noon Eastern with Wake Forest and Syracuse. Then we feature these games. Louisville here at the Pitt to take on Pitt at 2. Then a top 10 matchup between number 5 Notre Dame and number 6 Virginia Tech. And then 8th-ranked NC State hosts Clemson to cap the night. All coming up tomorrow on ACC Network. 1 out of 2 from the line for Hinson. Still just a 5-point lead. Strong take to the rim. Couldn't get the roll for Abar and rebounded by the Panthers.
But North Florida is not settling for jump shots right now like they were earlier. They were actually running stuff.
Nice feed from Cummings to Federico for the lay-in.
You know, I really like Cummings. Cummings is a really good shooter and has proven he can do that. But he also looks to set up his teammates.
He leads the team in assists, 6th in the ACC, 4.5 a game. Hendrickson couldn't get it up on the rim. Rebounded by Federico. Good interior defense again for Pitt. Cummings has not scored in this game. He averages 11 a game, but he has distributed the ball. He had that pass, the skip pass for the three-pointer to Elliott. Federico lays it in.
They're really trying to set up Federico. They really want him to get a chance to get good looks and the unselfishness in which this Pitt team is playing.
Matches Pitt's biggest lead of the game, 9 points. Again inside and again turned away. Sabandi, Euro step blocked out of bounds by Abar.
There you see they're looking for Federico right there. They throw it up in the air for him to get that airspace and be able to finish. That time, Hinson kicks it over to him to be able to finish. It's nothing like having your 4 and 5 playing off of each other.
Contested 3 off the inbounds is rebounded by Oscar Berry. Federico has 6 points already, which is already above his season average. Tough post pass goes out of bounds, another turnover.
And one of the things that Pittsburgh is doing, they're very active and they're challenging all the passes. They're not denying passing lanes, but once somebody has the ball, they're not making it easy for them to make the next pass, and they're still containing the basketball.
7th turnover of the game for North Florida. Good pass into the corner for another open 3. It's good. Same connection. Cummings to Elliott, his 2nd 3 of the game.
Well, yeah.
Pounded inside again. Abar, the nice bank shot.
And it stops an 8-0 run by Pittsburgh.
Jeff Capel will call a timeout, and we will step aside as well. Pitt with a 10-point lead.
We love our new home.
There's so much space.
But we have...
Greg Elliott has had a heck of a day for Pittsburgh, and they've been able to use him in a lot of different ways. Off this action, you see right there, they have Federico come over. He sets the screen and rolls, and they got that early. They created help, and they hit Elliott right there, and he buries the 3. But that was set up by their earlier action.
They've really tried to get it to Federico so far. He's got 6 points. Elliott also has 6 points, both of them on 3s that have come off feeds from Nelly Cummings. That timeout was actually taken by North Florida, down by 10. Sabandi knocks down the jumper.
And again, that was created by Federico's roll, but he's been rolling, sucking up the defense and freeing up the shooters.
How would you like to see North Florida defend that better?
Probably go underneath the screen and make the guy that's using the screen have to knock down a jump shot and stay at home with Federico so everybody else can stay home.
Another poor post-entry feed and another turnover for North Florida.
Yeah. Again, you see the action right there. Federico rolls. Then this is what they call a bulldog action. The weak side wing raises, and they knock down the jump shot.
Three-pointer for Nelly Cummings with a hand in his face. Now the biggest lead of the game for Pitt.
But now, if you go under that screen with Cummings running it, then you can give that shot up. So that's probably why they're hedging and not going under, because Cummings is such a really good scorer.
North Florida falling further behind, needs something offensively. It's Hicklin to the rim. He lays it up and in. First two of the game for Jarius Hicklin, their leading scorer.
Robert, he is so good getting to the basket. Like you said earlier, he did it against Kentucky. He's done it against everybody that they played against.
As now Ted Valentine stops the play, as there was some kind of hand checking.
Yeah, they want to clean that up. It started with the basket on the other end. Hicklin kind of bumped after he made his shot, kind of bumped into one of the Pitt players. And then in coming over the screen, he did the same thing. And we have a veteran crew, and they just want to clean it up early.
Double foul on the play. It's a double foul. Hicklin was the player for North Florida, and I believe it was Cummings for Pitt.
And then whenever you lower the shoulder, something's going to be called.
Or was it that on Elliott? I think it was called on Elliott, not Cummings, when they bumped into each other. And another foul. This is going to be called against the Ospreys. Dorian James just picked up his third foul of the game.
You have to let cutters run, and whenever you see a double foul or any sort of incident, you know the next couple of minutes everything is going to be called really close. So that's not the time that you want to bump somebody or grab somebody.
Wednesday is National Signing Day for football. We've got you covered right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. We'll have our annual special breaking down all of the ACC recruits, taking you through each school with highlights and evaluations. Our 1 hour show begins at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Pitt coming off another good football season, 8-4. They're headed to the Sun Bowl to take on UCLA on the 30th as the three-pointer's off the mark. And Pitt running back the other way. Stolen away. Here comes North Florida 3-on-2. Hicklin attacking the rim, and he's fouled.
Again, Hicklin does a really good job of getting to the basket. But, you know, that time Cummings got a little bit anxious and tried to feed the ball into Hinson, and he really wasn't there. If a guy's kicked that far off the block, you really shouldn't give him the basketball.
Hicklin, an 80% free throw shooter, missed the first. Lanier in for Berry.
It's a very important stretch for North Florida.
Yeah, gotta keep it within striking distance in this last 2.5 minutes. Don't want to fall behind by 17 or 18 going into the half. They've really done very little offensively, so if they could get this back down to 10 at halftime, you got to think they'd be feeling pretty good about that.
It would be a win-win. I think both teams, as I said earlier, should be happy about the first half. I think Pittsburgh has executed their offense very well. They just missed some shots. I think North Florida has stayed connected and put themselves in a position to stay in this basketball game.
Excellent feed by Sabandi to Federico as Hendrickson comes up short on the long three. Hinson on the run, 1-on-2. Hinson galloping to the basket, lays it up and in.
So the time he got the ball at the top of the key, it was no question he was going to the front of the rim.
Placer, quick three, and rebounded by Sabandi, and now Pitt looking to really open it up. 17-point lead with the ball in 1:40 left. Good ball movement by the Panthers. Cummings step back three. And the rebound brought down by Parker.
Great job sharing the basketball that time by Pittsburgh. It never stuck. They kept moving it. Cummings had a good look. He just missed it.
Much needed 3 there for Hendrickson. With a minute to go in the first half.
And Coach Driscoll has really stayed calm in this half. I think he wanted his team to come out and play with a lot of composure. And so he didn't want to act like he was too upset. He's really managed this first half well.
Federico turned away by Jaden Parker.
There you see Sabandi right there finding Federico. A great basket right there. They want the big guy to finish like that. There you see a great 3 by North Florida.
We love our new home,
There's so much space.
but we have ants.
Expired. Expired. Expired.
It's a lot of house. I hope you can keep it clean.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Hey, Lexus, play holiday music.
Make this December one to remember. Together. Happy holidays from Lexus.
Federico Federico, a sophomore from Finland, played last year at North Oklahoma, originally committed to West Virginia, but reopened his recruitment in February of this year and ended up at Pitt. He comes off a very strong game against Sacred Heart, and he's picked right back up today.
Well, one of the things that I noticed as a coach, all the perimeter guys are looking for him, which means he's a good guy, which means they recognize that he works hard and he's trying to get the ball in the low post where he can operate. Because guards have a way of looking off post guys that they don't think work real hard.
3-pointer from the corner. What a rebound by Federico. And then a foul against North Florida.
And that kind of effort is a thing that you have to earn the respect of your teammates. He doesn't give up on plays. He picked up a foul earlier because maybe he should have gave up on a play. But I tell you, this Pittsburgh team is really trying to get him involved in the offense, and they're very unselfish in how they do it.
I believe Hicklin just picked up his 3rd foul of the game, so their leading scorer just picked up his 3rd foul. As Federico knocks down the free throw.
He's got a really nice touch, Robert. He really does. The only time he gets in trouble is when he gets off balance, and as he gains some strength in his lower body, that won't happen.
He was born in Egypt but raised in Finland. Makes 1 out of 2, but a lane violation will give him another opportunity. And you look at all the firepower on this Pitt team, guys like Hinson averaging 16, Cummings and Elliott 11, Burton 15, but it's Federico who's the leading scorer so far. He's got 9 points.
I tell you, the ACC race is going to be really interesting because there's different styles, and teams are able to win different ways, so it's going to be a thing of what style is able to overcome the others.
About a 6-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. North Florida is trailed by as much as 17, down 16 right now and looking to get some momentum going into the half. Placer, nifty dribbling, left-handed layups up and in. 7 points for Placer.
And that was one of the few times Federico was not there to challenge at the rim.
UNF looking for one last stop to close the half with 6 seconds left. Cummings guarded by Barry. Cummings with 1 second left throws it up wildly, and UNF does get the stop. That's the end of the first half.
I thought it was a great first half by Pittsburgh, especially on the defensive end and executing offensively, sharing the basketball.
39-25, Federico with 10. 3 other Pitt players have 6. Placer leads 8 forced turnovers and an 11-3 advantage in points off of those turnovers.
Yeah, and that's something that's interesting because when we met with Coach Capel yesterday, he really didn't talk about his defense. He talked more about the chemistry, about adding some players with good pedigree, but defensively, when I watch film and see them today, they really do a good job defensively.
Pitt has won 6 out of 7, taking it to the rim and scoring. Blake Hinson, 8 points. Pitt's won 6 out of 7. This is their last non-conference game of the season. They head headlong into ACC play for the rest of the regular season. At the other end, Parker rebounded by the Panthers.
Once you get in the conference play, it's a different animal. It's like trying to lie to family. You can't do it. Everybody knows everything about you.
Is that something that happens often in the Clark family?
Any family.
Hinson, a nice job keeping the dribble alive, and Pitt running the other way with a 16-point lead, led by as much as 17 late in that first half. Hinson knocks it down.
I tell you, Hinson likes to score. His brother played for me when I was at South Carolina. I've known him for a long time, that whole family. They like to play football and they like to score the basketball.
He's averaging 16 and 7 this year as Hendrickson knocks down the triple. North Florida needs more of that. They love to shoot the three a couple of times under Coach Driscoll. They've led the country in three-pointers made. Birds of Trey, that kind of moniker defines the program a little bit, and offensively as Federico scores again.
And the difference in what he did then and earlier was he gathered himself and he got his footwork together so he could explode to the rim.
Offensive foul on Placer.
There you see Hinson. Good footwork. He squares up, finds the basket, knocks it down. That's good action right there off of a down screen and able to knock down the three.
Hendrickson up to 9 points now to lead North Florida. Kickball.
You know, Robert, I said earlier, I thought both teams in certain ways should have been very pleased with the first half. You know, I think Coach Driscoll has got his team now executing and running good stuff. They just have to come up with some stops.
Elliott, strong finish.
Elliott is very versatile as a scorer. We've seen him knock down threes earlier, and now he can finish at the rim.
Placer floating three. Couldn't get the roll. And clearing the glass is Elliott.
Placer's had two go down and looked like they were going to go, and they just bounced out.
Cummings pulls up. Federico missed the putback, gets the third opportunity.
See, that's what I'm talking about. The first one that he missed, he should have just exploded. He should have been over the rim.
14 points now for Federico. You see on the season, he's about tripled his season average. Parker flips it in. As you said, though, North Florida has to start getting some stops at the defensive end. They can't just trade baskets.
No, offensively, I think they're playing a lot better than what they did the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game.
Loose ball foul will be called against UNF.
Well, Federico, he's got to make that. But once we get in the ACC, he's not going to get that second opportunity. That missed shot is going to be rebounded by somebody bigger and strong. So he's got to make the first one on that action.
Hinson might have teased him about padding his stats there. He got an extra rebound out of it. Get closer to that double-double like he had last game. Hinson. Now who's padding their stats? Who's padding their stats now, Blake Hinson? 12 points for Hinson.
I love the way this Pitt team is playing together, though. They're really doing a good job of sharing the basketball.
Wide open three from the corner. UNF has just not found the range from beyond the arc. Burton running the break. Hinson pulls up from mid-range and scores again.
And I tell you, those that saw Burton last year and when they see him this year, they're seeing a completely different player. Burton is really playing, trying to get other people involved. He's playing at a pace where he can be very effective.
Elliott came up short on the double clutch three, but he gets his own rebound. Starting to get away from the Ospreys, and out of bounds. Out of bounds, a turnover. Pitt has opened up its biggest lead of the game now, 23 points.
With the award-winning Geico mobile app, our customers...
The tough matchup. Why? Because he can drive the ball from the perimeter and finish at the rim. He can post you up. He plays off of angles, and he can step out. He can make the mid-range jump shot. He can come at you a lot of different ways.
He has 8 points already this half. Pitt has 14 points in the first 4 minutes of the second half, and they've opened up a 23-point lead.
I'm surprised North Florida has not played more zone. They played it a lot in their other games, and I thought it would be something maybe to give Pitt a different wrinkle to play against.
Down to 3 on the shot clock. Down to 1. Won't get it away. Shot clock violation.
You know, the thing that makes this Pitt defense, and I keep talking about it, but it's a constant in this game and a major factor. They contain the basketball, you know, and no one is getting to get to the rim. And when they do, they're getting great rotation.
Pitt has controlled the game, trailed briefly for about 20 seconds to start the game, and have led ever since. Elliott thought about the 3 with 15 minutes to go. Nice feed to Federico. In deep. Federico flips it up and in. 16 points.
Robert, that was excellent. He took his time that time. Early in the game, he got it in there, and he rushed the shot up without even finding the basket. Now he's slowing down his action. He's picking up the basket, and he's scoring.
Hicklin knocks down the 3.
Hicklin is a really good player. I mean, you can see how talented he is and what he means to this North Florida team.
41% three-point shooter in his career, making about 3.5 threes a game this year. That was his first today.
And I guess I talked up the zone. I mean, I was expecting to see this early. A lot of times coaches wait to the second half to show something so you can't clean it up at halftime.
Federico, career high 18 points. Quickly the other way, Abar, challenged by Federico. Elliott, alley-oop, Federico dunks it.
Chemistry is something coaches talk a lot about. This Pittsburgh team right now has very good chemistry.
Federico extending his career high, 20 points. As we said, he averages 4.5 points a game. Off the mark on the 3, however, the rebound fumbled. Federico, 9 out of 13 from the field at the other end, laying it up and in, Dorian James. And North Florida will call a timeout. Pitt has opened up a 24-point lead with 13.5 minutes to go.
We love our new home.
There's so much space.
But we have ants.
Without question, they're really looking for him. I like this action that they go to where he sets the screen and then rolls, and then they find him and he's finished at the rim. The other thing he does is he rolls that time. Again, he finishes, and then you always like to give the big guy a little sugar, so you throw him the oop and let him slam it.
But you still want to see him go up a little stronger on some of those.
Yes, but he's doing a much better job of finding the basket than he was early in this game. But I really like the way Pitt is using him and the way his teammates are looking to get him involved.
He had a career high last game, 17 and 14 rebounds against Sacred Heart. He has eclipsed that today. Brother to brother, but turned away. That was a beautiful look from Jorge to Guillermo, but they couldn't finish.
And North Florida has gone to that zone.
Nice finish by Abar. He's got 6 points.
Hinson, though, on the drive, and he's the guy right now that North Florida is going to have to play off of.
Hinson's mid-range jumper is pure.
He's playing with a lot of confidence right now. Every time Hinson is touching the ball, he's looking to make something happen.
His coach told us he's just happy to have an opportunity to play. Sat out the last 2 years at Iowa State, and you can tell he's enjoying being out there for this Panthers program.
Yeah, but Robert, he's always liked playing offense.
Step back three, Hicklin knocks it down. 9 points for Hicklin, the junior from Orlando. As they've even switched up the zone a little bit here, tweaking it.
Well, it's like a matchup. You know, here in Pittsburgh, they call it the amoeba after Coach Gergerich, who started it when he was coaching here at Pitt. And you just kind of match with the lineup offensively that you play against. It looks like a 2-3, but it can morph into a 1-3-1 or 3-2.
Hinson with 18 now, and Pitt comfortably ahead with 11 and a half minutes to go.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Did you know?
Federico and Hinson having big games, 22 of those points in the second half. And Hinson in particular has knocked down 4 or 5 mid-range jumpers, and it's not something you see a whole lot of anymore. Everyone's three-pointers and layups, that's the whole game. But that mid-range jumper can be very effective, as he's showing.
It really can be, and a lot of times coaches said, well, we'd rather take the three, but if a guy's not a good three-point shooter, then let him take the mid-range. And Hinson has done a really good job of attacking the basket and pulling up, taking the mid-range.
Hicklin knocks down another three, but the defenses know it's three-pointers and layups too, so they're giving up that mid-range jump shot. They'll just give you that.
Yeah, but if they're going to give it, you have to take it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Two's better than nothing.
Right.
And so, you know, and that's what Pitt has been able to take advantage, especially Hinson, because he is a mid-range shooter, basically.
They'll give you that shot, and if you can make it, it's 2 points. And, you know, for Hinson, that's looking pretty easy as Diaz-Graham couldn't get the roll, and then a foul on the rebound against the Ospreys.
You know, one of the things, and this is why I think this Pitt team is going to be good. I think the AC is going to be a very competitive league because it's competitive energy. This Pittsburgh team plays with a high level of competitive energy. And when you play big-time basketball, no matter what conference you play in, the energy level has to be there and the competitiveness has to be there. And that's what this Pitt team has brought to this ballgame.
They wanted an alley-oop. Abar had different thoughts, and now Hicklin clears the glass. Still a set 20-point lead, but Hicklin has started to heat up. Hendrickson a three, and a foul will be called out top against Jorge Diaz-Graham.
And Jorge didn't agree with that, but he's a freshman, so he didn't know what to say or whatever. He just kind of looked. He looked like, with all the contact that's going on, you make that call for three.
Well, it was a three-shot foul. That's the second time Hendrickson has been fouled shooting a three. He's an 82% free throw shooter. Tomorrow, our women's basketball quadruple header starts at noon Eastern with Wake Forest and Syracuse. Then we'll have 3 games following that, the first of which is here at 2 o'clock, Louisville against Pitt. Top 10 matchup, Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. And then we'll cap it off with Clemson against 8th-ranked NC State. It's all coming up tomorrow. Women's basketball quadruple header on ACC Network. Hendrickson makes all 3. He's got 12 as Federico will check back in for Guillermo Diaz-Graham.
Now, this gives Pittsburgh a different look because Hinson goes to the 3.
Some three-quarter court pressure here for North Florida.
Hinson will float in and out of the foul line.
Good play defensively and out of bounds to North Florida.
Yeah. For young players, you cannot feed the post when you're above the foul line. That's just a bad angle to make that pass. It's too long a lead. The defense can slip around as they did and get in front and make the steal.
We saw UNF do that at the same end of the court a couple of times in the first half where they threw a post feed out of bounds. UNF trailed by 14 at the half. They've trailed almost the entire game, down to by 17 right now. Hicklin on Hinson. Down to 7 to shoot. Sets up a ball screen. Placer down the lane, lays it up and in.
That was a tough screen right there on Cummings. And he was saying nobody made a call. It was tough.
And Abar is down on the court. He's being helped up. He was in that screen action as well.
You see the screen right there. Nobody says anything. He gets clipped. Cummings gets clipped and winds up taking A-Bar down. I think he kicked him in the face, or his shoe flew up and hit him in the face. There you see the screen. That's one of the few times where Pittsburgh has allowed the ball to actually get to the rim and not be challenged.
So Pitt was up by as much as 26. This is now an 8-0 run for UNF to get back to within 15. Still a long way to go to really get back into the game, but they have rattled off 8 in a row. Federico clearing out space and scoring.
And again, the biggest difference is he's taking his time now. He's not rushing. He knows he can score, and he's shooting the ball with the confidence of a big that knows he has a height advantage.
22 for Federico. And now the jump ball, the alternating possession will favor the Ospreys.
You see the feed right there. You see he takes his time, finds the defense, locates the basket, and then finishes. You'll be surprised, Robert, how many bigs shoot the ball or in the process of shooting and haven't picked up the basket, you know.
22 for Federico, a new career high. And a broken 8-0 Ospreys run. Defended well on the perimeter. 2 to shoot. Parker desperation. Got it up on the rim, and it's rebounded by the Panthers. Burton easily to the rim.
Yeah, that's his game. That's what he does so well. He uses his body, finishes at the rim. He's just a completely different player today.
Tough pass to handle there. Parker kicks it out. Extra pass, Hendrickson the 3. Came up short again. Rebounded by Burton. Three from the corner for Cummings. And rebounded by North Florida and Jaden Parker. Hendrickson turns and fires. He has not found the range from beyond the arc today. Will send us to a timeout. Pitt up 19 with under 8 minutes to go.
Geico's been offering.
Is here today with his wife and his newborn, who looks very concerned with the state of the game right now. That newborn is where we think we all want to be.
Great family. They really supported each other extremely well.
You see Jordan Berry there, who played 6 years in the NFL, and let's not disturb that child, all right? That looks so peaceful. I just can't even tell you how good that looks right now to be sleeping with
Not
that.
a worry in the world.
Federico missed the first free throw. We did ask Oscar about why didn't he punt? And he said flat out, I'd be better than my 2 brothers if I really put my mind to it and practiced it a lot. So remains to be seen. In fact, we have a photo of him in playing Australian rules football. There's Oscar at 15 years old. Hey, he says he could be better, but he's not a bad three-point shooter. He was all rookie NEC at Fairleigh Dickinson last year.
Not at all.
Ten on the shot clock here. And here's Berry from the corner. And we just talked about him there. You can't miss that shot.
Nah.
He tried to make it.
North Florida's gone back to the zone.
This is Diaz-Graham. Federico again. Back to Diaz-Graham, and he's fouled.
Graham is very skilled. He's got to get stronger to be, especially playing inside, be able to finish. I hope he's okay.
There's an injured North Florida player. It's Parker who was called for the foul, as well as is injured on the play. Take a look at what happened here. Number 24 looked like he turned his right ankle when he came down on the floor.
Wow.
North Florida flew up to Pittsburgh on Thursday afternoon. They're actually not flying back out to Jacksonville until tomorrow morning. They have a game against Davis and Elkins is their next game. That's a Division II school on Monday back home. Then they're at Bethune-Cookman on Thursday. They play in the Atlantic Sun. They were picked 5th out of 14 teams in the preseason poll. Liberty was number 1. Jacksonville was picked number 2.
That's a really good league. Liberty is always really good. Richie McKay does a really good job there at Liberty. Ian McCall, the athletic director, he was my athletic director when I was at Tulane. He was my oversight, and he just does an outstanding job of picking coaches there at Liberty.
They've got Darius McGee. I think he's averaging about 25 a game, a diminutive guard for them. There's Parker in a good deal of pain as he's helped off the court. This is Jorge Diaz-Graham. It was an interesting free throw routine, to say the least. Can't say I've ever seen that before today. Worked for him there.
This is the type of game where Graham can get some reps and get some experience going into ACC play.
Blocking foul called on Cummings.
It looked like he had a charge and then he reached.
So Pitt comfortably ahead here. They've won 6 of their last 7. This is Pitt's last non-conference game. They did win their ACC opener at NC State earlier this month, so they are 1-0 in league play.
That game is going to really benefit them because a lot of people will not be able to beat NC State at NC State. And they really had a really good Vanderbilt team on the ropes to the right there at the end.
They have a very, very difficult resumption of their ACC schedule. They're at Syracuse on Tuesday.
You think?
Carolina, Virginia, at Duke.
I tell you, whenever you go up to Syracuse, the Warden of the North, he just makes things very difficult up there. He's an unbelievable coach, Jim Boeheim, and what he's been able to do there. And then you've got Carolina, Duke, Virginia. I mean, Virginia's playing really well right now. This is a veteran Virginia team. It's the first time that they've got everybody back, and they're really playing at a high level. And
you look at the preseason poll, 1, 2, 3, Carolina, Duke, Virginia. Pitt playing all those teams. Syracuse down at 8th in the preseason poll, but going to be a tough stretch for Pitt coming up. But this is a team that's got to have a lot of confidence right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. When I coach, I'd rather play those type of teams early than late when all the focus is on you and you have to win games. Now you've got them out of the way, or you've seen them before and you're familiar with them. So in some ways, it's not bad. But the Carolina game, I believe, which is going to be here, is going to be really huge.
Air ball on the free throw. They play Carolina on the 30th here on ACC Network. They also play Virginia right after the new year here. So 2 of those games will be here at Peterson Event Center, where they've won roughly, call it 75% of their games since this building opened back in 2002.
You can't lose at home. That's why they call this place the zoo. I mean, it will really be jumping.
Burton, mid-range jumper.
I'll tell you, he's playing with such poise and in total command of the game.
A-bar affected by Federico. Body's hitting the floor. Placer, difficult shot is good.
That was a really tough shot.
12 for Placer.
And Placer is really a good shot. This North Florida team is going to give people, especially in their league, a really hard time because they've got shooters, they've got some size inside, and they really do a good job with Hickman. It's creating a lot of opportunities.
Burton missed the last game, but he's got 8 here today.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that I watch as a coach, he's playing under control. I mean, straight up, straight down. He's not forcing anything. he just looks a lot calmer than he did last year, where at times he would get a little flustered when the ball didn't go in the basket or he didn't get a call. He just looks totally in control.
Jamarius Burton started his career at Wichita State, played there a couple of years, then Texas Tech, and you see he's really blossomed since coming to Pitt. Big numbers last year as well as this year. He makes 1 out of 2 from the line and has 9 points. Yeah, UNF is perennially one of the top teams in their conference, always in the top 4 in the Atlantic Sun. Had a bit of a down year last year, and we talked about their schedule. I mean, you schedule 3 of the top 5 teams in the AP preseason poll, and we asked Coach, what's going on with the schedule? He said, we're going to bank $500,000 this year playing those games. That's just the way it is at that level. We fund a lot of our athletic department by playing Gonzaga, Houston, Kentucky.
Yeah, but you have to make a decision. Do we play against the opponent, or do we play the way we're normally going to play? Because you obviously, when you're playing Kentucky, Gonzaga, Pittsburgh, those folks, they've got a different level of athlete than you're going to see every day in your league. So now we make adjustments to play against them, or do we run our regular stuff?
And taking their lumps again here today, 13 now for Elliott. Check that, 11 for Elliott. You go to Gonzaga, you play your first game of the year there, you lose by 41. What are some of the, you weren't on that side of the score a lot, but what are some of the things you can sort of get out of a loss like that?
Well, whenever you're in that position, when I coached at Texas A&M Corpus, we had to play some money games. And, you have to survive about 4 bad whistles to have a shot, and you got to prepare your team to be able to do that just because you're on the road.
Hicklin, chance for a 3-point play. With under 4 minutes to go here in Pittsburgh.
In my home, we are always busy and keep things on a tight schedule, so having...
On the left is Pitt head coach Jeff Capel. He's assisted by his younger brother, Jason Capel, both terrific players, and you know their family very well.
Extremely well. I tell you, their father, Jeff, was an excellent coach. He coached at Wake Forest, went on, coached at Old Dominion, had a tremendous career there. You talk about in-state rivalries. One son goes to Duke, the other son goes to North Carolina. One's coached by Mike Krzyzewski, the other by Dean Smith, probably the 2 best coaches ever to coach in the ACC. And so it's just a tremendous basketball tree. And I'm sure at the dinner table there's a lot of interesting basketball conversation. Their dad now was an excellent card player. He had all the tricks and everything. He used to go on the Nike trip, and he would take everybody's money with his card tricks.
What was the game?
He had different tricks where he would pull aces out of the deck. I bet I can pull a 2. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but nobody played cards with him regular because he was so good at it. But he was a tremendous mentor and very proud of both of his sons.
You see Jeff the third, who's the Pitt head coach, closing in on win number 221. And it's interesting, when we talked to him yesterday, there's just some people you can tell when you talk to them and they talk about their parents. You could just tell his dad really meant a lot to him. His dad passed away 5 years ago. You can just tell how much his dad meant in his life.
He did, and he did to all, especially young black coaches and all, because his dad was a real inspiration and a leader with that, and he gave a lot of inspiration to a lot of people. And both of his sons have just turned out to be tremendous gentlemen. And Jeff, his demeanor, and I told him this yesterday, I thought really fit this rebuild at Pitt, because he has the patience, he has the understanding and the background of what needs to be done. He doesn't get rattled. He's not going to go off a script, and he's just the right guy in the right place.
And he's built programs before, and he's in his 5th season at Pitt. Let's be honest, the first 4 years have had a lot of adversity. He's trying and starting to succeed at turning this around.
Rebuilds are hard. I was part of 2 rebuilds, one at Georgia Tech and the other at Tulane. I was fortunate, and the key in rebuilding is getting a guy that's as good, you think is good, but he's better than what you think he is. At Georgia Tech, we got a young man named Mark Price, who was 4 years All ACC Rookie of the Year. And at Tulane, a guy I got in my first recruiting class, went on to be the second all-time leading scorer in the school history. That's being lucky. I mean, and so, Jeff is really rebuilding this thing, and in a difficult time, Robert, because of the transfer portal. I mean, people think it's a plus, but it's hard to get chemistry. It's hard to build some tradition and getting some stability, and he's managing all of those things.
KJ Marshall, a walk-on. Almost got the crowd fired up there with a possible three-point play. He will go to the line for 2 shots.
I think everybody remembers Coach Capel as a player for the half-court shot against North Carolina. That pushed the game into overtime.
Yeah, one of the more iconic moments in that rivalry when he hit the shot from half court at Cameron, sent the crowd into a frenzy, even more of a frenzy than they were already in probably, as the foul is called, and we'll head to the other end with 2.5 minutes to go. He had a big career, scored over 1,600 points at Duke, 433 assists, and well over 200 three-pointers.
But, he takes the job at Duke. When he was the associate head at Duke, he takes the job here at Pitt. The safest job in America is the associate head at Duke. I mean, and so he really saw something in this job and in this rebuild, and he's just done a heck of a job.
Basket is good for Brandon Rasmussen. It's his first points of the game and the first field goal of his career. He is a walk-on from the Virgin Islands. Got a bit of a rise from the crowd that's still here supporting North Florida. Pitt has been comfortably ahead most of this game. Sabandi's in there, 3 from the right wing. Comes up short for Nate Santos, a sophomore who's in for the Panthers. Both teams have put a lot of their reserves into the game here. This is Ja and Z. His pass deflected. Pitt on the run. Santos, nifty, and a blocking foul.
This North Florida team, what they've gone through with this early schedule is really going to prepare them for their league. They're going to be tough. They're not going to be intimidated going into any environment. And Coach Driscoll brings so much energy. I tease him all the time. Can you just get excited at least sometimes? I mean, he always brings that enthusiasm, and they're going to have a good year.
Don't forget, coming up next, Cornell makes the short 50-mile drive up I-81 to square off against Syracuse. Trying to break a 41-game losing streak against the Orange, for the Big Red, dating back to 1969. That's when we're done here. We'll send it up to the JMA Wireless Dome in central New York. I assume they've dug out from the snowstorm we got up in that direction.
You talk about Syracuse. We all regret Louis Orr, one of the Syracuse great pass a couple days ago, and he was just a gentleman among gentlemen and a tremendous player.
From Cincinnati, played at Syracuse, was a head coach at Siena, Seton Hall, Bowling Green, was most recently an assistant at Georgetown, and just a very nice man as Santos throws it down. Gets a rise out of the crowd that's stuck around here with under a minute to go. So Pitt will improve to 8-4. North Florida will fall to 3-7. Three-pointer blocked. And about a 7-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. This should be Pitt's final offensive possession. Brother to brother. And they will possibly run the rest of the clock out here. They will. Time ticking off. Pitt in control, and Pitt wins its 7th game out of its last 8, 82-56, the final.
Pitt really executed both on the offensive end and the defensive end tonight. It was a well-played game by the Pitt Panthers. 26-point win for Pitt as they finish off the non-conference schedule at 7-4. But 8-4 overall non-conference schedule. They win 7 out of 11.
and they got a couple of big games